So today we have a PlayStation 4 controller. So this particular controller has the problem of these buttons on the back here. They're very weak, so I assume it's the bubbles that are causing the problem here. But the guy that gave me this wants me to change all of these buttons here because he thinks they're a bit soft, but actually they're okay. And the same for the other buttons as well. But I don't think I'm going to have to change those because they're absolutely fine. But the main concern is these two buttons here, and he's also said the triggers as well, but I mean I believe also the triggers are absolutely fine. So we're just going to have a look at these two buttons. So there is tape on this one because he sent actually me two controllers. Here's the second one. So this controller is also functioning, but the problem with this one is that none of the buttons work apart from the X button. So that's what we're going to have a look at probably later, but at the moment we're just going to focus on this one because that controller over here is going to be our donor controller for the parts that we need for this one. So what we're going to do is we are going to take this tape off, take it apart and see what the problem is with this. So grab my screwdriver of wisdom and let's see what screws we've got here. So we have 4 Phillips screws on the back of here. Unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation 4 to be able to test that what we've finished or when we finished, to test these out. And say yeah, okay, it's working, or no, it's not, and this is the wrong size, so that's going to strip those threads. So try and find the right one. Hopefully that's okay. Good. Whoop. My camera's on a tripod, which is stood in front of my desk, so unfortunately I don't have exactly the correct recording equipment at the moment. Oh, these screws are disgusting. One moment, I'm going to get some gloves because this controller is dirty and we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. So I think it's a really good idea to be wearing some gloves. Okay, so my hands are clean and I have my gloves on. Quick tip, if you're struggling to put on gloves, especially these like stretchy latex, examiner's gloves, what you can do is you can get some baby powder, put some on your hands, just rub it in, and then slide your gloves on, and it makes life so much easier. Otherwise, if you've got a little, if your hands are sweaty, a little bit like mine, it can be a little bit annoying when they rip, which is usually the case. So let's take this tape off. So yeah, as I was saying, apologies for my, oh no, oh no, oh, that was a close one. These are the only ones I've got at the moment. I need to go get some more. Yeah, so if you find that the camera is being nudged a lot, it's because of my current setup. So anyway, let's get this apart. So alright, I would assume that this is like a snap together. I don't want to snap it in half and break it. Like snap fit, something like this. So let's get a flat bladed screwdriver, just a flat blade tip. Stick that in there and try and gently pop this apart. Oh! Okay, didn't do much there, it just fell apart. So there we go. Alright, so here is like some kind of ribbon cable. And we can just slide that out, that's great. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's get rid of this junk. Zoom in just a bit so we can see what we're dealing with here. So this was the button that was causing a problem. We can see actually it's just falling apart, it's broken. Okay, so we're going to have to use the other controller for its parts, but this one seems okay. The trigger buttons. Alright, so oops, battery's falling out. So what we're going to do is just take the other controller apart. Oh, actually, we should have a look at this one here too. This one feels a bit better, but it's also broken. So we're going to grab these little triggers out, and there's a little spring on here for the trigger. Is it just one spring? Yeah. Alright. Oh, it fell out. Okay, I just grabbed this one. I'm going to have to work out how they go back together, but what we should do is just grab that off of there. Because we have to replace both of those. Okay, that hooks over there like so. So we can just pop that out. Both of them, put them to one side and start taking apart this other controller. So this one has probably got some kind of water damage. I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to mix up the parts, so that's the partially working one over there. So let me just zoom out. Just move those over there. So this has probably got some kind of water damage. Not entirely sure. But we are going to find out. He also said that if I do figure out what the problem is, that it would be really great if I could, try and repair it. Whether it works or not though, no idea, but we'll give it a try. So let's just pop them apart again, or at least make an attempt. Let me get the flat bladed tip. There we go. Trying to look for an entrance here. Come on, help me out. Okay, either that popped it open or it's broken. Okay, so that's those two areas. Oops, let's just get underneath there if we can. Okay, wonderful. Halfway there, another button. Okie dokie, another one that's just popped. I ought to check that they aren't broken, because that wouldn't be very good, would it? Okay, so let's get that out of there, put that over here. So here we have the, yep, that's much better. So let's get the rubber. I'm not actually sure what these are called, you know, but we need those in any case. So let's grab these. Put that control there. And slide those in like so. Just push them in, and then underneath we can just hook that over there at the back. And this one too. Slot that in. So on the back of this there are two little feet, and they go in those holes there, like alignment pins if you will. And then on the back there's just that little hook. You can just hook that up over there. So we're pretty much done with the with this area, so this should feel much better now, and this will then be a fully working control. So we can actually start to put this one back together. So let's figure out how the heck that's going to happen. So we can just put those old rubber things to one side. Now, triggers on game controllers aren't my best forte, but we're going to figure out how this works. So this is the right trigger, so actually it goes here. But how does it go? Though I'm not entirely sure, you know, to be honest. That's clearly wrong. Let's see here. On the other controller, let's have a look. So what mistake did we make? Well, I think I'm starting to learn actually what the mistake is. Let me just pop this out. This battery, get that out of there. So I kind of figured that that sits inside here like that, and I assume, okay, so this can go in that little wedge there. There's a little space. Push it in at the bottom, lift it up, push it in. There we go. Okay, worked it out. That's great. Okay, let's do that for the other one too. Left trigger. Okay, so let's get the left trigger. Although that looks slightly different from the inside of this trigger, so okay. So that's for this. Okay, so we got the wrong one. Let's grab this out. So inside there, inside the trigger is a little area for this spring to go on the left side there, and then again with this controller there is also this little gap. We can just hook that into the bottom and then kind of like slide it up and in, and we are on. Okay, let's get the buttons in. How we're going to do that? So can they just go straight in, or in fact, you know what, let's give that a clean because that's full of junk. And my desk will be being disinfected after, so don't worry. I do keep myself and others safe. I do this with my current job, which is IT technician. But yeah, I'm starting to get into more of the electronics and electronics repair, so that's quite nice. It's an interesting hobby, cool subject. So how do these go in there then? What do they, because these have got hooks, so well, nothing, they just slide in. So let's get that on in there too. Just drop that in, and that immediately feels much better. Good. Okay, so let's get the battery in. And get this thing back together. So this ribbon cable slots back into that there. So let's see how we can get that back. Let's just grab that. Whoops. The whole point is not to let it go, you know? Okay. Get that back in there. Normally on a ribbon cable there is a little line, and that's to let you know that when you've pushed it in and it stops, that is where it stops. So yeah, you don't need to worry about pushing it in too far and destroying it. Let's get rid of all this junk. So hook that in at the back there without trying to get the battery to fall out. Uh-oh, it's trying to turn on. Ah! The left button fell out. Drop that bad boy in there. Oh my goodness. You know what I'm thinking? Actually, that I can just snap this controller together and that these buttons can just pop in like so. Yeah. Okay, so seems like it's done. Alright, so let's put the, well, at least we know it's, the battery works. That's a good sign. Ah, these bloody gloves. Okay, so my other tools are in the back of my car at the moment. And these aren't magnetic. I'm a little bit unprepared because I don't actually have a full proper working space at the moment to do the things that I want to do with all of my projects and things, unfortunately. So yeah, a lot of my things are just not available at the moment, or I have to go and put them back and go fetch them every time. And because this little toolkit that I bought here is like super small, you know, it has like all kinds of different tools. So we've got Torx bits, flat bladed. We've got also different sizes of Phillips and flat blade too. We've got like a, this one's more like a pin. Yeah, and this is triangular for, you know, those things, those screws that have just got odd shapes like triangles. So yeah, so this toolkit's pretty easy to work with, and I can do most things with it, but my other stuff's in the car, so. Okay, so we have triggers, working buttons, that's good. Everything's okay. So this I can clean this, but the next project, so that's working and that's done. So it's pointless me trying to do anything with this controller, I guess, because I don't have the parts to actually repair it. But we're going to have a look and see what the problem is with this one, because the button X works, but none of the others do. So we're just going to have a quick look and see if we can figure out what the issue is, but I don't think we will be able to. But we can try. So let's zoom in and see if we can do some sort of examination, board examination. So far it's looking okay. I mean, the lighting for this camera is not exactly great. Let me see if I can. Okay, so there's a small white patch here, just like corrosion, I would guess. I'm not sure what that is, I have to see, hold on. So there is a tiny bit of corrosion on what looks like just in that corner there, like some kind of capacitor or resistor. But to get this board out, we are going to have to desolder the vibration motors here and take out this ribbon cable. So we might have to do that. Can we pop? No, okay. Okay, and also I see here a lot of corrosion under there. So it could be that we have to get the heat gun, take that off. What's this here? Nothing, it's just a bit of glue. Okay, so, and there's also corrosion under this chip here. Okay, so, and a corrosion around here. So we're gonna have to desolder these, clean up the board. There's actually quite a bit of corrosion. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're going to clean up the board. We're going to do some tests and see what the situation is. And I will heat up the soldering iron and get the hot air gun at the same time. Okay, so I believe the soldering iron is warm, so we can just give it a, yep, okay, cool. So let's just grab these off very quickly. And this should then, in theory, just come straight out with all of the other bits. Okay, so unexpected. So these are pads. They are corroded. That was not what I expected, actually, so we might have to dig just a bit further. And how's this looking? Okay, there's a lot of corrosion going on. So just underneath is a ARM processor. Look at that. That's really bad, isn't it? Okay, and here, all over there. Okay, so unfortunately I don't have isopropyl alcohol, but what I can do is use this disinfection thing that I have. Handdesinfektionsmittel. It's basically isopropyl alcohol with some other stuff, so you can use it with your hands. Propan 2-ol, propan 1-ol, you see it there. So this should be absolutely fine. I have used it before. We are going to use it. That's just to clean up this though. But we need to get that off. That's the main thing. The problem is the heat gun that I have isn't, you know, the normal one you would use for SMD components. It's a full-on 2000 watt heat gun, you know, with a great big tip. So unfortunately I don't really have much in the way of being able to actually do things efficiently, shall we say, at the moment. I do have my eyes on a soldering station though, which is really nice because it comes with a power supply, it comes with the soldering iron with adjustable temperature, and also the desoldering heat gun too, with a multitude of tips. So if I can get that, that would be really great. And like I say, I have seen it on eBay. It's 122 euros, so I'm gonna go buy that soon. Okay, so unfortunately I wasn't able to get the donor one working, but on the other hand we do have a working controller, so I'm just going to clean it up now because they just look horrific. and then give it back, and yeah, explain that this, obviously the donor one is now not working. So we're going to clean these up and just give them back.